Hi guys! Hey, today in class we're taking some quick notes on something called the CRAPS test. Today you just need to watch this video if you're at home and make sure you understand what the CRAPS test is. Basically, when you look to find sources to back up your information, like you're on Google and you're typing in, you're trying to find a website maybe to use for like a quote or a paraphrase in your writing, you have to make sure you can trust the source. When you just type something into Google and you find a ton of different websites that you could possibly use, some of those websites are going to be great and some of them are not so great. For any website you use, you need to put it through a test called the CRAPS test. Here's what you would check. The C in CRAPS is for credibility. You'd have to look at the ending of the website and think, does it have credibility? .gov and .edu sites already have some credibility because not just anyone can make those sites. A .gov site has to be an actual government organization. A .edu site has to be an institute of higher learning, like a college or a university. .com, .org, .net sites, they could be great. You could use them. You just have to do some extra checking first because anyone can make a .com or a .org site. We're going to use salmon as our example. Let's say I want to make a report about salmon. Here is a .gov site that I found that might be really great to use. Salmonrecovery.gov. I'd have to read the information and make sure the information is something I actually want to use in my report, but at least right now, because it's a .gov site, it already comes with some credibility. Same thing with this .edu site I found. It's oregonstate.edu. It's an article about salmon hatcheries. Because it came from a university, it already has some credibility. This one is about salmon, and it's from defendersofwildlife.org. Now, I've never heard of this Defenders of Wildlife organization, so before I can just quote this information in my writing, I have to check this author. So maybe I'll scroll up to the top, and I'll click on About, and I'll try to figure out who are the Defenders of Wildlife. Are they really an organization I can trust? Here's one I found. Oops, not this one. Here's a page I found, which is on nationalgeographic.com. Sorry, you can't really see it right now, but it's about salmon. It's a .com site, but I know that National Geographic is an organization I can trust. So the information here, because it's such a trustworthy organization, even though it's a .com site, I can feel pretty confident using this information. If it was just a random blog, maybe about salmon, someone just talking about salmon fishing, I'd have to check that author first and be like, who is this person? Are they really who they say they are? Do they have credibility? One thing you need to know about C in the CRAPS test is .edu and .gov already come with credibility. .com, .org, .net, or other websites, you have to check first. The R in CRAPS is for relevance. You have to think, is this on my reading level? You might read this article about DNA evidence showing that salmon hatcheries cause substantial genetic changes, and you might read this and be like, what? I don't even understand what they're talking about. This is way too above my reading level. And in that case, you wouldn't want to use this website. You might look at a website and you might be like, oh, this is for little kids. I shouldn't use this website if it's made for like elementary kids. So it should be on your reading level. The other part of relevance is it should be on your topic. So I might find this website, right? It's about salmon, but if my report is about what salmon eat and where they live and what they look like and what their lifespan is like, well, this website is about recipes for salmon. So even though it has the word salmon, it's not relevant. It's not on my topic. The A in CRAPS is for author, and this is really where we take those .com, .org, and .net sites and we check the author and we think, can we trust this author? Are they an expert? That's where on this Defenders of Wildlife one, I might check, who are the Defenders of Wildlife? Can I trust them? Can I trust this author and this information? The P in CRAPS is for purpose. If the website's main purpose is to sell you something, then it might not be good information to use. It's the difference between maybe getting a quote from like a documentary versus getting a quote from a commercial that you watch in between a TV show, right? You wouldn't ever quote a commercial. That doesn't seem like good information. Here's a website that I found where you can buy salmon online. The whole point of this website is to sell salmon or to sell different fish and sea fish, shellfish online. So in that case, because this main purpose of this website is to sell something, it's not a good website to go to find information. Some websites that are designed to maybe convince you of something or to promote something, they might be a little biased and might not give you the best information. S is for sources cited. You have to think, if it's an organization that you don't know if you can trust, can you find other websites that agree with the information? Like, do they cite their sources? Like, maybe on this Defenders of Wildlife one, maybe I'm like, I don't know if I can trust this. But if down here where they're talking about facts about salmon, right? If they said where the information came from, like maybe it comes from National Geographic or it comes from, I don't know, some sort of encyclopedia, then maybe you could trust it. A lot of times when 7th graders do research, they find themselves on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a good website to use for sources, but what Wikipedia does usually have is it does usually have a lot of references. So I tell 7th graders sometimes it's a good place to go to start your research. Like maybe this could help me find different websites to go to. Like I can see, oh wow, they're maybe using information from a book, and that could lead me to a book. Oh wow, they're using the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. So maybe I open up a new tab and I Google Alaskan Department of Fish and Game, and this can help me find a good site to use. But in terms of quoting from Wikipedia, it's not a good website to use because anyone can go in and edit it, right? There are some times where they check it, but in high school and college, you're not allowed to use it, so you shouldn't get in the habit now. Okay, this is the CRAPS test, and next week and in the future weeks in this quarter, sometimes you are going to have to do your own research. You'll have to go onto Google and find a website. Before you can just use the information from that website, I'm going to ask you to make sure your website passes the CRAPS test. Can you trust it? Is it on your topic? Can you trust the author? Is the main purpose to give you information, or are they trying to sell you something? And would other sources agree with that? Asking these questions and making sure your source passes the CRAPS test will make sure you have information that is actually credible and is fact-based and things you can use. Have a good day.